Good morning! I'm just going to wait for this car to go past. Welcome to Finland. A slight disclaimer. I have no idea how far this lake comes up this embankment. And every now and then I put my foot down and go, ooh, that doesn't feel so good. Before I forget, thank you for your comments regarding my question about the whys and why nots, viewing figures, foreign videos, etc. Appreciate the input. I'll probably still not change what I do, but hey, that's because I do this for me. Anyway, I'm back in Norway, which is hurting my head because I left the cabin at about 8:20 and it's now 1:45. Oh my god. And we're in rush hour. I've not seen so much traffic since I've been here. I'm heading to Bugoynes. No idea what's at Bugoynes, but it looks interesting on Google Maps. And I came across this scene yesterday, but there was nowhere to pull in. Just down the way, there's a cabin. And that was a possibility, but it meant walking up the road. There was nowhere to stand. It's not wide, it's a dual road, but there's no pavements as such. And I really wasn't certain how firm this snow was, and I didn't want to log all my gear here, find out I couldn't get down. Today they've been across with the tractors, and they've ploughed some laybys. Awesome. So we have the archetypal Norwegian scene. There's two subjects here. There's the cabin in front of me, and it has a little red cabin with white doors, which could be a garage, could be an outhouse, I'm not sure. I've placed the cabin on the right-hand side, and I've avoided getting any of the power lines in. There are a huge amount of power lines in Norway and Finland, and they kind of spoil the scenery. And I know they're part of the scene, but I don't like them. So I've managed to frame that one, so it's pretty much, I've lost the uprights. Might just have a slight bit of cloning to do on the left to get rid of the actual cables. And I've got this massive lake, which is pristine. I've got more lake than I have sky. The sky's fairly bland, fairly uninteresting, and that's fine. And then I've moved over to my right, and there is another cabin, which has actually got two smaller cabins. I'm guessing. One could be a sauna, one could be an outhouse, I don't know. I've included the cables on this one and the power lines. There's a pair in a diagonal line coming down to the left-hand side of the cabin, and there's a pair on the right-hand side slightly further out. But again, we've just got this expanse of snow on this lake. It's wonderful. I'll show you, if I can, a little bit closer. It's always good for a laugh. Let's say if we disappear, we've fallen in. Although they have lost something like 70% of their 40% of their snow, the ice on the lakes is still apparently about 70 centimetres deep. Sure, that's what the guy was saying. So let me see if I can fix focus. Right, so we have the red cabin. You can see the power lines up here and here. There's just a small amount of cable there to go. I can't zoom in any closer on my phone. And then we went over here. And we avoided the trees. Let me just tilt you down a bit. There we go. I'm not sure if he's saying you're stupid, get out of there, or if he was just being friendly. That's my cabin with the two smaller cabins, and I have included the power cables. I can't avoid it. I can't zoom in any closer, but obviously I didn't get the trees in. Let's just fix that. Composition wise, slightly cropped in to about there and about there. Again, this expanse of white, pretty much no cloning, no adjustments to make other than the usual RAW to JPEG adjustments. Might just brighten, might just brighten the sky a little bit. It's slightly darker than this expanse of snow. Oh, I can hear the huskies. There's a husky farm around here. Let me just put you back down. Hold on. zoom out. That's better. So I have no real understanding of whether I'm in focus or not, or even in shot. So yes, the archetypal Norwegian landscape image is lovely red coloured huts, yellow coloured huts, blue coloured huts. They really do like the colours over here. And I wanted something to give context of the environment and the remoteness, the wilderness that this place has. I haven't seen a road on my journey down to any of these cabins. There's another couple over here, but they're a bit, I can't do anything with those. So maybe they are summer cabins, because a lot of Finnish and Norwegian people have a second home, a summer home, or perhaps you can only get to them by skidoo. Come to Norway, they said. Nothing to see. No scenery. We're supposed to have 10 mile an hour winds, 10 metres per second wind, which I think is about 18 to 20 miles an hour. I don't get this metres per second malarkey. With 22 miles per hour gusts. Not sure what part of Norway that's in. I couldn't resist. There is nothing here. There is a bank of rocks and the most lovely reflection in the background. I haven't even put my polarizer on. I suppose I ought to, really. I'm at f11 1/30th of a second, which is just going to go up because I have my ISO at 125. I'm using my histogram because the whole scene is bright. The rocks almost mirror the shape of the hills in the background, and I'm having to be quite careful on composition because of all the trees down here. I can't quite get high enough. If I go further down the hill, I'm going to get more of the trees in, and if I can get to the foreshore, which looks doable somehow, the rocks are going to encroach in the reflection, which I didn't want. Right on the edge at 1/25th of a second, right on the edge of the histogram. I think if I go any further, let me just check my blinkies. Yeah, if I go any further, I'll try 1/30th. I think that's going to end up blown. Wow, I came here before. I was looking for Ganvik, I think it is. And the snow transforms everywhere, because when I came up here before, I think we were about up here in snow. So I never saw that. Oh. But it's one of those scenes where as you drive along you go, huh? Put your tongue back in, put your mouth shut. It's beautiful. I think the breeze is picking up slightly, and I think that's a fjord rather than a lake. I'm fairly certain that's a fjord. I've been chuckling to myself all the way up here. I've been looking at the road names on the sat-nav and then listening to how the sat-nav's pronouncing them. I'm not entirely convinced it's the right words that it's saying, because you have a word with 11 letters in it and it seems to only use 6. It's bizarre. Anyway, I'm at, I would say, Bugoynes. but listening to the sat-nav, it's something like Bugoynes. It's one of those two. Bugoynse, I think it is. It's a very sleepy, or it seems to be sleepy, fishing port. Perhaps it's because all the boats are out. But over here, slightly out of shot, we have the King Crab fishing excursions place. You can come up and they'll take you out. You can go and catch your own king crab, because apparently Norwegian king crabs are absolutely glorious. I've yet to try one. And then you can come back and cook them. Sounds like a reasonably good plan to me. It's overcast, it's gloomy, and the little bit of sun that we had has disappeared altogether. But it's made the light nice and soft. And I wasn't really sure what I was expecting. I think I wanted to be over there. And so I'm going to drive up there in a minute. This is the entrance to the harbour. I'm a bit confused because that looks like a fjord and that looks like a fjord. So perhaps you can detour in from both sides. There's not a lot photographically that I've spotted, but I quite like this little scene. We have a jetty, presumably to moor little boats on. There's a place over there that hires out 5.3 metre, I would call them a skiff, little boats with a 30 brake horse motor. Very seaworthy. That's what the advert says, they're very seaworthy. And you can take them out and go fishing. So I'm presuming that might be where they moor up. There's a bit of a gap between the end and the walkway. Quite sure how you do that. But anyway, it's a little bit difficult to compose. Down here there's a wooden structure. So I'm having to make sure that's out of frame. And then I'm guessing this is lowish tide. The water is the most amazing aqua colour. So I've got that going out diagonally, right to left, and then in the distance we have that foremost mountain, hill, that's almost going left to right, so I've got a triangle, and then we've got the entrance to the harbour. I don't think that's actually in frame. Oh, it is, just in frame. I put the polarizer on to help bring out the aquatones. It's amazing. You'll not be able to tell on there. But the water is glorious and it's so clear. Considering this is the hub of fishing, I'm amazed at how clear the water is. And hear the gulls. I've put the 6-stop on and I found a nice compromise. There's a little bit of a breeze and I didn't want to get any movement in that jetty. So ISO 100, F10, 10 seconds seems to be the sweet spot. I could expose a little bit brighter, I could go to 13, but that I think is going to give me movement in the jetty, and I'd like sort of reminiscent of Venice, with the gondolas because of the blue. A bit of a stretch, but that's just how I see it. 10 seconds seemed to be perfect in terms of not getting any movement. Yeah. Oh, actually, that 13 seconds is just getting soft. So we'll drop it back down to 10. 3-second timer on. As I say, there's a little bit of a breeze. And you do have to be careful. Norway and Finland, I don't know about Denmark and Sweden and the other places, they don't have garden fences as such. So I'm always wary, am I in somebody's backyard? And there's a little summer house there. That must be a beautiful view on a summer's evening. So I'm hoping I'm not in anybody's backyard. It's a bit difficult to tell. But yeah, I quite like that. If that's the only shot I get here, I'm quite okay with that. I'd like to expose it a little bit longer, but it's not going to happen. The polarizer, I've tried it turned on to remove the reflections, and I've tried it turned off, and I prefer it turned off because it's bringing out the aqua. What a cracking little place. I was hoping to find a little cafe. Finland and Norway don't seem to be tourist based. Or maybe I'm just not visiting the right places. You go to England, you go to Scarborough, Whitby, coastal places, and there's invariably a coffee house or a fish and chip shop. There's nothing like that here, just a completely different setup. This is more industrialised, so maybe this is more like Grimsby Docks, but prettier. Yeah, and you have to be so careful of the reindeer down here. It's like they are so well camouflaged. And I guess they're finding it a bit strange, because this time of year they should have 6 foot of snow. And whilst the lack of snow is making it a lot easier to pull into places, because you can actually see what you're pulling off the road onto, it's a bit bittersweet, because obviously the snow helps to make for minimal landscapes. But it's adapt. Yes, I'd love to have done a lot of minimal stuff while I was here. That's not going to happen because of the conditions. So I'm just looking for other stuff. And I'm glad I found the coast. It's excellent. I will catch up with you very soon. Hope you enjoy the images. And have a good couple of weeks. Toodaloo.